So, I mean, you and Shane started DeepMind partly because you were concerned about safety. And you saw AGI coming as like a live possibility. Do you think the people who were formerly part of Brain, the half of Google DeepMind now, do you think they approached it in the same way? Have there been cultural differences there in terms of that question?
Yeah, no, I think overall, and this is why, I think one of the reasons we joined forces with Google back in 2014 was I think the entirety of Google and Alphabet, not just Brain and DeepMind, take these questions very seriously of responsibility. And, our kind of mantra is to try and be bold and responsible with these systems. So, I would class it as, I'm obviously a huge techno optimist, but I want us to be cautious with that, given the transformative power of what we're bringing into the world, collectively. And I think it's important, I think it's going to be one of the most important technologies humanity will ever invent. So we've got to put, all our efforts into getting this right and to be thoughtful and sort of also humble about what we know and don't know about the systems that are coming and the uncertainties around that. And in my view, the only sensible approach when you have huge uncertainty is to be sort of cautiously optimistic and use the scientific method to try and have as much foresight and understanding about what's coming down the line and the consequences of that before it happens. You don't want to be live A/B testing out in the world with these very consequential systems, because unintended consequences may be quite severe. So I want us to move away as a field from a sort of move fast and break things attitude, which is maybe served the Valley very well in the past and obviously created important innovations. But I think in this case, we want to be bold with the positive things that it can do and make sure we realize things like medicine and science and advancing all of those things whilst being responsible and thoughtful with as far as possible with mitigating the risks.
Yeah. And that's why it seems like the responsible scaling policy is something that is a very good empirical way to pre-commit to these kinds of things.
Yes, exactly.
And I'm curious if you have a sense of, like, for example, when you're doing these evaluations, if it turns out your next model could help a layperson build a pandemic class bioweapon or something, how you would think, first of all, of making sure those weights are secure so that doesn't get out, and second, what would have to be true for you to be comfortable deploying that system? How comfortable, like how would you make sure that latent capability isn't exposed?
Yeah, well, first, I mean, the secure model part, I think we've covered with the cybersecurity and make sure that's world class and you're monitoring all those things. I think if a capability was discovered like that through red teaming or external testing by government institutes or academia or whatever, independent testers, then we would have to fix that loophole, depending what it was, right? If that required more a different kind of perhaps constitution or different guardrails or more RLHF to avoid that, or removing some training data, there could, depending on what the problem is, I think there could be a number of mitigations. And so the first part is making sure you detect it ahead of time. So that's about the right evaluations and right benchmarking and right testing. And then the question is how one would fix that before you deployed it. So,
Sure.
But I think it would need to be fixed before it was deployed generally, for sure, if that was an exposure surface.
Right.